Welcome to Best Kept Secrets Travel, Episode 12, Part 2. My name's Morgan.
And I'm Will, and on today's episode we are on our deep dive of Czechia, Part 2. So if you haven't watched our first one, which was absolutely amazing, please
It was fantastic.
go back where we talk about history, how to save a little bit of money, the best modes of transport, different local foods and drinks, the most Instagrammable locations,
the geography,
and much, much more. But on today's episode, we're going to go through the best things you can do and see throughout Czechia, and even give a little example of what you could do potentially over something like a 3-day trip.
That sounds amazing, and I think it's about time to roll the intro.
Woo!
Best friends, and that's for life. Who stay traveling? I'm talking worldwide, 65 countries between the two. Every moment is so unbelievable. Sharing the best kept secrets about the trips and mistakes they made that they can't forget. So tell me if you're ready for a time to remember as they gear up for the next adventure. Yeah. Woo! Best kept secrets travel.
Before we start this episode, please and thank you already for liking and subscribing to this channel on YouTube, leaving an amazingly positive comment below, and leaving us a 5-star review on Castro, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and every other platform we are on, because it makes a huge difference, helps us grow, and gets us to spread more love and information to everyone out there.
And we put a lot of effort into these episodes, and it's not hard for you to either press like, press subscribe, or if you're on Spotify, because this is a new feature, you can click 5-star review on the podcast. And of course, if you're watching us on Apple Podcasts, normal review, and you can write about how fantastic our voices are. And can you talk about trees, Will?
I can talk about trees because for every 100 subscribers we get on YouTube, we plant a tree in a National Trust site. And for every 50 downloads we get on an episode on one of our podcast channels, we plant a tree somewhere around the world. And we've planted them all over Africa, South America, Europe, North America, Australia. You can help plant more trees and save this world. One download, technically 50 downloads at a time, but I'm just going to say one download at a time, because your download matters.
Yeah, we'd like to go get a tree on every continent, but we're struggling a bit for Antarctica.
One day.
They didn't have a
we
service
also probably
for it.
won't be allowed to take one.
No. No, we'll have to set up some sort of... I don't think there's any tree. There's not going to be any trees, is there?
Let's get to it, Morgan. We're going to start off with with the best things to see. Starting off, we have the Punkfur Caves, discovered in the early 20th century by Czech archaeologist Karel Absalom. The Punkfur Caves, located around an hour's drive from Brno, is one of the most awe-inspiring underground cave systems in the Moravian Karst. Visitors can tour around the Punkfur Caves via a footwalk that takes them past many mighty stalagmites and stalactites, including Punkfur's biggest stalactite at 4 meters long, from the stunning Mokaha Abyss. What abscess?
Abscess, that's something very, very different.
It's a lot worse. The Mokaha Abyss, 138 meter deep gorge, and the biggest of its kind in the Czech Republic. A boat trip takes sightseers along the Punkfur underground river via sites like the Marasrak Cave, often hailed as the most beautiful cave in the region.
Fantastic. There is also, in Prague, the Lenin Wall. And the Lenin Wall, not Lenin Wall. I mean, yeah, Prague's a reasonable distance away from Liverpool, which is the birthplace of the Beatles. But fans should definitely check out the shrine to one of the most famous bands, not as good as Queen, of all time. The wall has been covered in John Lennon and Beatles graffiti, lyrics and quotations since the 1980s, and it's a very popular tourist destination, and young fans who wish to pay homage to the group often go there, but it's still quite a cool thing, and also a decent place to go and get pictures.
How about the Reservoir waterfalls carved by the Huntava stream? The Reservoir waterfalls are a protected area since 1966, noted for its natural beauty and nestled in the southwestern reaches of Nizhny Jensnik mountain range.
Fantastic.
Are a series of scenic cascades and rapids and one of Czech Republic's most popular tourist destinations. The rocky canyon through which the waterfalls cut their course can be explored via marked trails along the Huntava stream, taking visitors through beautiful undisturbed forests and past the ruins of an abandoned medieval castle.
Now that does sound quite exciting.
That sounds amazing.
And it's nice to do all the trails and walking. I like to explore a new country by going on different trails, but I also find it quite hard sometimes to actually find the information about it online.
Yeah.
The trails, because sometimes trails get shut over winter. Or
ask a local.
Ask a local. That is a very good answer. So how do you find a local?
I walk up to someone on the street and say, "Were you born here?" And if they say, "Yeah," they're a local.
Yeah, well, they could just live there.
Yeah.
Does that count as a local?
Yeah, not the same vibe I was going for.
So, okay, going for different vibes. Vibes is cool. I can go off vibes.
Yeah, I want a vibey local.
Vibey local.
Born, bred. Yeah. Hopefully speaks English.
And have some bread as well. That's also works.
Please.
And so ask them. Okay, well that's
what I'll go for.
That's right. So we spoke about this, and of course you will 100% recognise this from part 1. Is Kutna Hora, which is also named the City of Silva. It's a day trip from Prague and you won't want to miss it. The UNESCO World Heritage Site remains one of the best places to visit in Czechia for any history buff. Experience architectural jewels at their finest as the houses and churches you'll walk by ooze with historical significance. No trip to Kutna Hora is complete without experiencing the creepy yet crowning gem of the city, the Bone Church. The Bone Church, aka Sedlec Ossuary. Now, Sedlec Ossuary is something I've known about for years, and I really want to go, as well as the catacombs in Paris. But it's an intriguing Roman Catholic chapel,
decorated with the bones of more than 40,000 people.
Known to the most as the Bone Church, it displays some of the world's most macabre art. In addition to a splendid bone chandelier composed of almost every bone in the human body. I wonder if you can say I want to go up there. Use me. The ossuary displays 2 large bone chalices, 4 baroque bone candelabras, 6 enormous bone pyramids, and 2 bone monstrances, which is a vessel used to display a Eucharistic host, a family crest in bone, and skull candle holders. I don't think you can get that off eBay.
And these festively looping chains of bone are hung throughout the crepe paper, aka from one of the shows I look creepy paper. Sorry. At a birthday party, Sedlec Ossuary has a long history beginning in the 13th century when the abbot of the Sedlec monastery,
Abbot Henry,
brought a handful of earth back from a journey to the grave of the Lord in Jerusalem.
That makes sense.
He scattered this holy soil across the Sedlec cemetery, securing its place as one of the most desired burial sites for people all over Bohemia and the surrounding countries. In 1870, a local woodcarver, František Rindt, was employed for the dark task of artistically arranging the thousands of bones.
So what would you do if you were given that task? Where would you start? How would you would you keep skeletons together? Would you split the bones up into big, small?
I think I don't know. I think my childish brain would start making them do inappropriate things, or they'd be doing funny gestures. But I don't want to talk about that publicly on the internet.
Yeah, so I think I'd probably split the big bones up. And put all bones together. Put all bones together because
well, you could mess around. You could remove part of someone's leg, so it looks like the evolution thing on one side of the chapel.
I was thinking of making a bone shield.
I'd recreate scenes.
A bone shield out of femurs.
The good thing is, Rindt came up with the Bone Church's stunning chandelier, as well as the amazing Schwarzenberg coat of arms, which includes a raven pecking at the severed head of a Turk-all-made human bone. Rindt was responsible for bleaching all of the bones in the ossuary in order to give the room for a uniform look. His artist's signature is still on the wall today, naturally in his medium of choice, bone.
Makes sense.
If you've been wondering where to go in the Czech Republic for a truly unique and interesting experience, look no further than the Kutna Hora and the Bone Church. It's only a 1-hour train ride from Prague, and it's much easier to take the train than the bus, as you can walk from the train station to the Kutna Hora in only 10 minutes.
So I would definitely...
That's on my list.
I would definitely put this as a best-kept secret.
Yeah.
This is Sedlec Ossuary in Kutna Hora is a best-kept secret. I was saying how much I was excited about it beforehand, but I did not...
Interesting.
I did not name drop it as a best-kept secret. And actually...
Definitely a best-kept secret.
Whilst we're doing it, I'm going to quickly...
You type that in, and I'm going to crack on with the next one. Ostrava. Ostrava is one of Czech Republic's best-kept secrets. Admire colourful and charming buildings as you stroll down the Masaryk Square. Get the best view of the city at Czech Republic's tallest town hall, or experience miniature models of famous landmarks around the world at the Miniature Park. For the adventurous travellers, explore underground coal mines and museums, or go rafting down the Ostrava River. If you want to party all night long, make your way to Stolny Street. After all, it is the street that never sleeps.
Fantastic. So, I've just looked up on Google Sedlec Ossuary. So that's Sedlec space Ossuary. And I've gone on images on Google. And Will's never seen this before.
That's insane. What? That's quite weird. I can't imagine having to do all that.
It would be quite overwhelming. You're just starting with a pile of bones.
Yeah. That's insane. Well,
it's on your list.
That's pretty high up there.
And you can also, moving on from Sedlec Ossuary, which we're now very excited and distracted by, you can watch the astronomical clock strike an hour. Whilst this is in the Old Town Square in Prague, and it's a spectacle of a mechanical clock marking the turn of an hour. The clock itself is on the south face of the town hall, and it is the pride of Prague. It was built in the 15th century, and despite being damaged and repaired during its lifetime, it is widely regarded as the best preserved medieval mechanical clock in the world. The show at the top of the hour never fails to disappoint many onlookers. So it's something, and I've seen pictures of this where you go and there can be hundreds of people there just watching this clock.
That's a really good range of things to go and see in a country, I think.
It's a really
good mix.
Interesting mix.
Waterfalls, creepy bone church, combine that with some of the previous places where we said, you can go grab beer garden. You could have really interesting trips.
There's beer, there's wine as well that we spoke about, but we didn't.
And I think as we move on to the best activities that you can do in Czechia, this is going to be quite cool.
This is very exciting.
So, on the best activities, we're starting off with Prodigy National Park, spanning an area of just 24 square miles. Prodigy National Park might be Czech Republic's smallest national park, but in no means lacking in beauty or diversity. It's nestled on the edge of the Austrian border. The park is a forest valley in an otherwise treeless stretch of southwest Moravia, through which the river cuts a meandering path.
Dyje.
Meadows, deep ravines, and dramatic cliffs. One particularly scenic way to enjoy Prodigy National Park, and one that budding wine connoisseurs will especially like, is take a trail between the town of Zonjmo and Sobis Vineyard, one of Moravia's oldest wine-producing locations.
So I'd say if you're interested in this, and we should probably do this more often just because our pronunciation is not always correct. So Podjny is Podyi National Park, and that trail is between Znojmo, which is Znojmo, and Sobes Vineyard, which is Sobes Vineyard, and that is one of, as Will said, Moravia's oldest wine-producing locations. But moving on, we have Šumava National Park, an untouched biosphere reserve covered in lush mountains and crystal-clear glacial lakes. Divided between Czechia and Germany, this UNESCO biosphere reserve paves the way for nature enthusiasts with its commitment to the protection of the land. Like us on this podcast, as we're trying to grow more trees, and its dedication to ensuring this beautiful, untouched area is preserved for future generations. In Šumava, you'll find few to no tourist facilities and frequent signs asking visitors to stay on the dedicated trails, along with miles of endless beauty. A perfect day trip from both Český Krumlov and Piesk is a truly wild landscape and is bustling with a plethora of activities for everyone, young and old, ranging from hiking to cross-country skiing and beyond. So that's Český Krumlov is CESKY space KRUMLOV, and Pisek, yeah, as it sounds, PISEK.
How about the Bohemian Switzerland National Park? Only 2 hours from Prague, not only is the park known for its valleys and sandstone rock formations, but also its lovely waterfalls. One of the best things to do is hike and climb your way through the lovely pine forest to Brafica Brana, Europe's largest natural sandstone arch. Even if hiking isn't your thing, the beauty of Bohemian Switzerland National Park will take your breath away, while the multiple viewpoints make for the perfect photo opportunity for the gram. Though many people prefer to book a professional guide to hike Bohemian Switzerland National Park, you can definitely tackle the trails on your own. The scenery of Bohemian Switzerland National Park is straight out of a storybook, and you don't want to be one of the many who miss this unspoiled natural gem.
How fantastic. So, České Budějovice, CESKE space BUDEJOVICE. It is home to the Budvar Brewery. No trip to České Budějovice is complete without a brewery tour. For those who aren't big drinkers, it's just fine. South Bohemia's capital city is full of architectural beauty. It's home to one of Europe's largest main squares, which boasts stately Gothic, Baroque and Renaissance buildings. So this is probably somewhere where it'd be very worthwhile going on a free walking tour, because it sounds like it's got lots of history, it's quite big. The square also has one of the best places to get a lovely view of the city. The Black Tower as well. In addition to all that České Budějovice has to offer, there are many hiking and biking trails as well as historic villages and towns nearby.
And if you fancy going to the Moravian Cast, which has more than 1,100 caverns and gorges, make up Central Europe's most important cast area. Along with touring the caves, many visitors enjoy the hiking and biking paths, the absolute must-see sights of the Punkfur Caves, which we spoke about earlier. Not only can you take a tour, but you can take a cruise through the underground river Punkfur. We've already spoken about this entire block.
I know, just keep going. Just keep going on, it's fine. It's because the title was Moravian Cast and previously as Punkfur Caves. This is where proofreading helps, but keep going.
No, we're going into next bit.
Because you can try and get the word Makocha Abyss correctly.
Read a book in the theological hall.
Sounds amazing. I'm sold.
The opulent library is found in the Strahov Monastery, an architectural beauty in its own right. The room was designed by Italian architect Giovanni Domenico Orsi in the 17th century.
Sounds fantastic. and Slappy Water Reservoir. When Prague locals do... When in Prague, do as the locals do. That was not what I was saying, but anyway. Oh my goodness, that was almost the next. That's not the same, but you get the gist. Situated an hour's drive is the Slappy Water Reservoir. It's a popular summer day trip from Prague. This gorgeous body of water snakes through the forest. It has its own breathtaking viewpoints and their own version of the Horseshoe Bend, connecting to the famous Vitralva River. This is a popular spot for water sports where you can go canoeing, stand-up paddleboarding, boating, swimming, and camping. This is not your average touristic site and is one of the best things
if you don't know what a horseshoe bend is, then you could Google that right now if it's safe to do so and you're not driving.
To do so.
Which is the really big bend in the Grand Canyon where loads of people go up for that photo opportunity. Next on the list is to visit the Royal Forest Dam, visiting the most beautiful dam in the country and potentially in the entire world should be one of your favourite things to do when you're in Czechia. When approaching the Royal Forest Dam, you may think you're actually approaching a castle with these beautiful towers. It almost looks like something in a fancy, out of a childhood book or a crazy film, surrounded by beautiful, beautiful forest with walking trails and the Ebb River. You have to make a quick stop for this when you're road tripping throughout the country.
That does sound good. Now we're going for a breakdown of the best experiences in Czechia. And we're going to start with what looks fantastic. Yeah. A beer spa.
I'm game.
Spa for blokes.
Book me in. And women who drink beer.
Again, we've said this and... Yeah, no, I'm not... Czechs consume more beer per capita than any other nationality in the world. They leave, well, the Brits and Germans behind, and whoever drinks more beer than that. So what better place than Czechia to immerse yourself in the beer experience even more? As in, literally. What is a beer spa? It is a relaxing bath that consists of beer mixed with water and herbs. In this case, at the beer bath GLOKNER at Svachovska, which is SVACHOVKA, there is 30 litres of special beer with water and yeast at a nice temperature of 38 degrees Celsius. What makes the experience even better is you get unlimited beer on tap, which you can reach without leaving the tub.
Yeah, I want to go.
I'm sold. So when's your next weekend that you're free?
Now.
It's
a weekday, but I'm going.
We're book a flight now? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Why not go and experience Terezin? The former military fortress is probably best known for being a prison that later became a Jewish ghetto and the Czech Republic's largest concentration camp. Deceived into believing Adolf Hitler had built a city to relieve Jews of the stresses of the war, nearly 200,000 people were led 40 miles north of Prague to the concentration camp. While in Terezin, you can tour the concentration camp as well as the monument dedicated to Holocaust victims. While it may not have the glitz and the glam of other destinations in Czech Republic, Terezin offers you a rich and humbling historical experience you will never forget. Slight turn of tone.
I was about to say that. That is.
I don't think your placement of this in our script was best, but
that is a slight turn. But I would still highly recommend it, and
especially with what you're now about to talk about, you really put that in the wrong order.
And there's lots of history there. And then
now let's talk about the nightlife, Morgan.
Now we're talking about Prague's nightlife. So Prague's nightlife has it all. World renowned for its jazz and classical music, there are many live music venues around Prague that can provide a good evening of entertainment. Take a stroll down the riverside and arrive at Jazz Dock, which draws some of the best local jazz musicians. For the serious clubbers, the Cross Club is an industrial nightclub in every sense of the word. Located on an industrial setting, the interior is a must-see jumble of gadgets, shafts and cranks. many of which would move to the music. Try U Medviku, which is a traditional pub first opened in 1466.
Ooh, that's old.
That's reasonably old. It's probably worth doing a Prague beer tour if you want to taste a wide variety of beers whilst out in Prague. That is something I would probably, knowing about their beer, I'd try and do the brewery tour, and I think I would probably try and do, because the brewery tour is not in Prague. So whilst in Prague, I'd probably try and do a beer tour.
Yeah.
As well, because I think that would be quite a fun trip.
I would. Or why don't you go explore Telk Underground? We're going below the surface for our next thing to do in Czechia. One of the coolest things
Cool.
you could do in Telk is to visit the maze of underground tunnels that connects the entire town and all of the homes. See the storybook architecture above and get a little spooked below. The tunnels were built originally as cellars to store and preserve food, as well as an escape if there was another tragic fire. Those were pretty common and would wipe out entire towns or to flee an invasion. Besides being fun to explore, round with a little headlamp or a flashlight, with a guy you can also enjoy state-of-the-art interactive exhibit on the underground tunnel system.
That does sound quite exciting. I think I'd enjoy
Morgan,
that.
Are you a secret agent?
I could be not one of these secret agents. So the next activity or experience is the Kgb Museum. This small museum was established by a Russian enthusiast and houses a large variety of memorabilia relating to the secret police of the Soviet Union. You may well be shown around by the collector himself, and you can expect to find an assortment of spy cameras, secret weapons, and interrogation equipment. Another interesting, they use the Force. It just weirdly reminds me of Star Wars The Force Awakens when they're trying to get information from Rey using the Force. Another interesting exhibit within the museum are the photographs of Prague taken by a KGB officer in the year of 1968, in which the streets of the city appear eerily empty.
Ooh. The last amazing experience we're going to talk about today is going and climbing the Narnia Rocks.
It's real!
The Narnia Rocks is actually the nickname for Tissa Rocks in Bohemian, Switzerland. This area is full of majestic rock towers that are not only fun to explore, but offer incredible views and vantage points and are straight out of a fantasy film. That's right. Tissa Rocks actually got the nickname Narnia Rocks because of the Chronicles of Narnia filmed scenes here.
That makes sense.
In the actual movie, there was a blanket of snow. We were visiting during the wrong time of the year. Why is this still in here, Morgan? Cut that out, Morgan. That Narnia Rock sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, that does sound fun.
Last but not least, for this deep dive into Czechia, I think we'll finish off with you telling me you would do for a 3-day itinerary if you went to Czechia. A long weekend, okay? Actually, we'll make it. You're leaving Friday morning and you're back Monday evening. So you've got 3 nights.
3 nights, okay.
Basically 4 days-ish.
So ideally, I would turn up and land. I'd go to get...
What's time difference? About 4 hours, 5 hours?
Oh, goodness, yeah.
I think it's 4 hours.
Ideally, I'd land, get to the hostel, and I would try and do a free walking tour. Or maybe on the first day, because it's not a full day, I'd walk around and get on a beer tour. And then because it's a Friday night, then go to some of the pubs. And then
so you go more the Pilsner vibe on the first night.
Pilsner vibes on the first night and beer tour.
Yeah.
The next day, I would try and, most importantly for me, would be getting to Sedlec Ossuary. So I think we said that was an hour on the train.
Yeah.
So I would try and do that in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Sedlec Ossuary and explore that area, because that area of Kutna is the City of Silva, and there's lots of interesting things to see about, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site on its own.
Yeah.
So I'd maybe even see if there's a free walking tour there to do as well.
I'd try and use that sort of Saturday and Sundays, really bulk out, and then just in the evenings go and enjoy the nightlife.
Yeah. I would
go have a fun dinner and try the pork knuckle.
Exactly, have some pork knuckle. I would definitely like to go to Pilsen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you need to do.
So I think Sunday would be Pilsen. Sunday's the day of Pilsen.
Maybe do like a late afternoon, or maybe on Saturday evening once you've gone and done the Bone Church in the day, you could then go to the beer garden on the top of the hill.
Well, that's in Prague, yeah. That's a good idea.
To Prague and overlook the city, have a couple of drinks there, and maybe dinner, and then go down to a town and enjoy the
nightlife. Yeah. And then on Sunday, have a nice, relaxed Pilsen in a brewery, nice and hungover.
Brewery tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that would be mine.
It sounds like.
What would you do?
Could fit a fair. I think I'd basically go exactly the route you've gone. I think it seems like you could have a really relaxed and enjoyable trip.
I would quite like to do some of the cave stuff as well.
Yeah, the caves and the waterfalls, I think I'd definitely try and fit in there.
Oh.
Which bit are you looking at?
The Kgb Museum would be a good thing to do on the first day of arrival.
That should be quite low down my list.
Well, that it's just quite an easy thing to do.
Oh yeah, you don't necessarily have to spend long in there.
You don't have to spend long in there, and you can go at any time. There's not a set time. So it's quite a good thing to tick off.
Library.
Yeah, the
That's
library.
Another easy one to tick off.
The astronomical clock tower.
Yeah. Clock Tower Library and Kgb Museum. They're a very good half an hour to an hour slot in time. Oh,
and of course, we forgot one of the big ones is you can't go to Prague and not see the castle.
Oh, yeah.
Largest castle in the world. One of them.
Yeah. So you could fit in a lot of that on Sunday.
Yeah. So it's pretty jam-packed, I think.
But I think you'd have fun. I'd try and block out from about 5 or 6 p.m. onwards just to have a very chilled one.
Yeah. Yeah, so there'd probably be a reasonable amount of alcoholic beverages consumed.
Yeah, but you need to try and handle all the food and make sure you don't. Well, if you're going to Prague and you're just trying to drink, then that's a very different scenario, and they're not necessarily the people which we're advising this trip on. We are not.
We have no idea. You tell us.
A beer trip, but yeah, let us know if you want us to design a boozy
beer
trip to
trip
Prague. Then that can also
be
done.
To Old God in Barcelona.
That could easily be done.
That could
very
be.
Easily.
And how is best for people to find us?
People can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and on our podcast channel. On our Instagram, we are the BKS Travel. On YouTube, we are Best Kept Secrets Travel. On podcast, we are Best Kept Secrets Travel. You can drop us messages, you can tag us in photos and everything, and we will answer your questions on any of our podcasts.
And I've got a question for you, and I want a reasonable question. Well, quick answer from you, and then we're going to open it up to the floor. I'm sure there's not much floor to it.
What do you need
everyone.
a quick answer for?
What is your favourite activity? Like your number one thing that you want to do?
Oof. I haven't been to Prague before, so the kind of beer scene is very, very high on my list because I'm a massive fan of Pilsner. If I removed alcohol 100% from the equation...
You don't have to.
Okay, I'd go for a massive brewery tour. Very large one.
So in Pilsen?
Yeah. Very big one.
Yeah, so mine would be Sedlec Ossuary, and we want to know what your number one activity, and we also especially want to know if we have not mentioned your number one activity to do in Czech Republic, because I blame Will if that's the case.
So, shall we wrap up our deep dive of Czechia?
So I think this is about time to wrap up.
And roll the outro.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I hope that you can handle going on adventures, best kept secret travels. Yeah, all over the globe, having fun, you know the deal. Amazing secret locations, hang out with Morgan and Will. Educate and entertain, haggle in the market, sharing their experiences. Time to get it started. Let's go.